everyone, and thank you very much for joining me once again. I know it's been a while since I've actually uploaded anything, but things have been pretty mental recently. So what I thought I'd do today is give everyone a bit of an update as to what's been going on, and then we really need to crack on and repairing the race car, and I'll show you why and what we've got to repair shortly. Okay, so the last video I uploaded was about the MR2, and after that, for 2 weekends straight, I literally was up here, carrying on with the sanding, carrying on with the polishing, and just cracking on and making sure that everything is ready for what I need to repaint. So the front trunk, or the front boot, I've got to repaint because I ended up going through the paint, back down to the primer, because there was just too many imperfections. Same with the boot, and then also the two lower portions of the door. I've still got to polish up and just sand down and flatten back the roof, but everything else is pretty much flattened and ready to go. The rear bumper I think is done, front bumper's all done, wings are pretty much there, the tops of the doors are absolutely perfect, and so are the rear quarters. So it literally just leaves front trunk, the rear boot, and then I've got to repaint all those bits and pieces as well. Plus obviously all the bits that I've actually got to paint, like the side pods, the skirts, and all those other little bits and pieces. So that was the main reason why I hadn't uploaded anything for a while, because it was just literally intense sanding, polishing and prepping ready for paint. So that will be after we've repaired the Clio. I'm hopefully going to crack on and actually repaint all the bits and pieces and get the other bits painted, so then we can actually crack on and get this thing looking good and getting it all back together. And then of course a couple of weeks later it was actually race weekend at Silverstone. I've got some brief bits of footage, and I've got one particular bit of footage which I'm going to have to show you shortly, so you can see exactly why we're going to have to repair what we've got to repair. However, not just the damage repair I've got to repair, I've got the auxiliary belt is looking a little bit perished and a little bit past it, so I bought a new one to get that replaced, just so that everything is mechanically sound. Also, I've noticed that both drive shafts, outer CV joints, the gators have ever so slightly got a small split. So I've got some new ones, and I've also got this really high temperature, really super duper grease to go in them. That was really expensive, but hopefully that'll be worth it, and hopefully that'll just prolong the life of the CV joints as well. Not that they're particularly expensive, it's a pain to keep having to replace them. 60 quid a piece, you know, if you're having to replace one after every race weekend, that starts to get pricey. And obviously the genuine Renault ones are even more. Admittedly, they'll probably last longer, but hopefully by applying this grease and the new boots I've got, that's going to prolong the life of those shafts. Other than that, the car was absolutely faultless, and after having it set up, it was an absolute dream to drive. I was running 6th briefly. Oh, actually, something else failed. The gear selector. It's proper now sloppy, and I had lots of trouble trying to actually get it into gear in race 2. I'd managed to get up to 6th, and then it really failed, and I couldn't get it into 4th, couldn't get it into 2nd, and it was just a nightmare to try and get 1, 3 and 5 anyway. As you might be able to hear, that's not right. So basically the selector seems to have sagged or dropped, so the adjustment is properly out. Now I have actually bought a replacement second-hand linkage just in case that's actually a fault. I didn't really get a chance to actually have a look, because after race 2 I literally just plonked it on the trailer and away we went. So today is going to be spending the day basically trying to repair everything as much as we can. I need to get the damage repair done, I need to get the CV joints done, auxiliary belt, and then the gear selector, and then hopefully Brands Hatch in a couple of weeks' time, this car should then be back up to running, hopefully 6th. Fingers crossed, because that was the highest position I'd ever been in, and do you know what? The car felt absolutely fantastic. So anyway, let's show you what happened at Silverstone and what we've got to repair. So this is only on lap 2, and you can just see me at the top of the screen there, and you'll see a car pull out who's got his braking completely wrong and is carrying far too much speed and just comes to the side of me. As you'll now see on the onboard, I'd made quite a poor start admittedly, so I was right in the middle of the pack, and yeah, unfortunately I got caught up in some traffic, and unfortunately then this happened.
So here was the resultant damage. It started actually at the rear quarter. As you can see, the sill is quite badly damaged, and so is the door.
So it actually appears that most of the damage is just contained to the door other than the bottom sill. So the bottom sill I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time on trying to pull out so I can get a sill cover back on. But today all I really want to concentrate on doing is getting the door replaced, because that is the bit that looks the worst. Amazingly, the door still actually opens and shuts, which baffled me because I deliberately didn't open it at Silverstone because I was scared that if I opened it, it wouldn't shut. But unbelievably, it actually still functions. But what we're going to have to do is obviously take this door off. I've got a replacement door behind the car here. I've also got some more wrap. So what we're going to do is get the door on the car, give it a wrap. I'm also going to have to take off the aluminium sheet that I've got here, and I'm going to have to put it onto the new door as well. But I'm going to do all that once the door's actually on the car, because I think that's going to be easier than me trying to mess around with me wrapping the door and putting everything on whilst it's flopping about, and they're not exactly the lightest things, these doors. So let's get this door off, and then we can actually pop the new one on and get it all looking good. Okay, so taking the door off actually looks fairly straightforward. I think it's a case of removing these little clips on the pins. Just slide them off the pins. One there. One there. And then we just need to bash. I'm probably going to need to get a hammer and stuff in there, but there's then the two pins just then should come out. Obviously remove this check strap, there's just one hex bolt there, and then that should all come off. And obviously you've got a plug here for all the electrics and stuff, so we'll get that off as well. But yeah, let's crack on, get this off, and then hopefully we just slide the new one in place. The door is, well, back together as best as I can. This is holding the sheet on for now. Obviously it does need to be all riveted together and just giving it a bit of a jig around and getting it all riveted on. But the loom's in, the original loom is back in, that is now connected. The wing mirror is in and connected. The window mechanism is in and connected as well. So obviously it's got to go to the body shop, but at least it's kind of in one piece and all back together. So obviously once it goes to the body shop and is on a jig and everything, hopefully then, you know, it's going to be pretty much good as new. The only problem is I don't know how much it's going to cost me. Could be out of my budget, so therefore no more racing this year. Obviously I just have to speak to a few guys and see what they can do, but until then it's pretty much all I can do. Okay, so unfortunately that is all I'm going to be able to do today. Obviously there are a few bits and pieces I could have been getting on with and what I was going to be doing today anyway, like the CV joint gaiters, the gear selector and the auxiliary belt, but there's no real point on me rushing around and getting them done today when the next stage really is getting the car shipped off to a body shop. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how available body shops are, especially on a jig and stuff. So that's my very next step, is to give some body shops a bell this week and find out when I can get it booked in. And I mean, even looked at, like I say, not all body shops are equipped with jigs and stuff, so I don't know the availability on that sort of work. So that's obviously the next stage. So like I said, there's no real point of me rushing around getting everything else done, because the main reason why I was going to try and get it all done today was so that I'd be ready for Brands Hatch in 3 weeks time, but that's just not going to happen now. So like I said, there's no point in rushing around getting everything else done when the main work won't be done. So yeah, unfortunately that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, because I'll do some updates on maybe even getting the car off to a body shop. Maybe I'll do some YouTube shorts on just bits and pieces like that. But obviously, whilst this is in the garage, my main focus will once again switch over to the MR2, try and get that done, try and get it all put back together, so that way it's out of the workshop and I can concentrate on getting this fixed afterwards. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.